Good evening. Glad you could join us. Yeah, so when we just talked about area, just like you see on the screen, again, these are from GED, and these are the most missed questions. So one of the things you just said was area. So if you look at this first section here, it
Mm-hmm.
talks about three different types of problems. Computing the area and circumference of a circle, but what's more important, the ones most people have problems with, is find the radius or diameter of a circle when given the area circumference. Another one is
Mm-hmm.
compute the perimeter area. But what you usually see or people have issues with is find side lengths of polygon when given the perimeter area. And then the same thing here, compute the perimeter area of composite shapes, which includes circles. All they mean is two composite shapes are just two shapes put together. So if you're looking for the area, you find the area of both shapes, add them together. If one is inside the other, you just take the one on the outside, take the area, subtract the one on the inside. They talk about perimeter. Perimeter is distance around. So you want to make sure you're not counting anything inside. It's on the outside. Um, I wish I had a nice problem. Let me see if I got it. Did you ever see me do? Let me see. This is right from the GEG study guide, and they got a composite area. Do you know how to do a problem like this? Let me find. Because area and perimeter, you're going to get. Usually
Mm-hmm.
they either have an area of a rectangle, perimeter of a rectangle. They usually have area or circumference of a circle, either missing radius or missing diameter. And then usually they give you like one or two volume problems. So area, perimeter, volume, I would say 4 to 5 problems. So that's an area you want to make sure that you prepare for. Who just joined us?
Daryl,
How you doing, Daryl?
I'm doing good.
What have you been working on this week?
I really wasn't working on nothing. I was just trying to tune into the class and just
Okay.
listen for right now.
Okay. So this is a problem where we talk about composite area. Okay. So when they give you this shape, a lot of times, again, one of the advantages or one of the strategies that you should continually um, exhibit when you're taking the GED is reading that question first, so you know exactly what you're looking for. So, what is the area in square feet of the lawn in Wilson's family backyard? The Wilson's family backyard is a rectangular plot that has a length of 100 feet and the width of 80 feet. The family planted a garden with the length of 60 feet. The family planted a lawn in the remaining area of the backyard as shown. So this is it right here. But if you notice, is how do you figure out what the area of this shape is? So what I would recommend doing is dividing this shape into two shapes. This is your rectangle one. This is your rectangle two. So we know in order to find the area is length times width. Well, we can easily tell the length, that's 80.
Mm-hmm.
But the width here is kind of hard to figure out. So what you have to do is you have to identify what's given so we can extrapolate the information we need. So for example, I'm gonna pull this drawing away and I'm gonna say this is 100, right? And then from here to here is 60, right? So
Mm-hmm.
how would I find from here to here?
Okay.
So this is the missing piece right here. How would I find the length of this missing
You
piece? If I
will
know,
have to subtract. Go ahead. No, I'm messing with you. I would have said you would have had to subtract the 60, 100 from the 60 and made it 40.
not 100 from 60, 60 from 100,
50, well, yeah, 60 from
right? So then you have 40.
yeah.
So again, it makes sense. This piece is 40, this is 60, all together they're 100. So this is how you get this missing piece right here, which is 40. So 80 times 40
Mm-hmm.
is 3,200. So the area of this first part of the garden is 3,200. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when we talk about feet, it's 3,200 feet squared. Now, let's look at this second rectangle. This second rectangle, again, it's easy to tell what the width is. It's 60. That's easy. So 60 times, but how do we tell this piece right here? Well, we're going to do the same thing. From here to here is 80, and from here to here is 60. How do we find that missing piece?
80 minus 60.
80 minus 60, which is what?
20.
20.
20.
Right. So now we know that this piece is 20. So now this rectangle, the width is 60, the length is 20. 60 times 20 is 1,200 feet squared. Now, a composite shape is made up of more than one shape. So what are we going to do to these two numbers with the 3,200 and the 1,200?
Add them together.
Add them together. So 3,200 plus 1,200 is
4,400.
4,400. Okay. So that's that's an example of how you find the area. But what if they ask you for the perimeter of this shape? Now, they're not asking the perimeter, but I want to ask you, what if they ask for the perimeter? Well, we knew that this was 40. We knew that this is 20. So if this side is 20 of this rectangle, what's this side over here?
20. Oh, can you repeat that question?
If the left side of this rectangle is 20, what's the right side's length?
Oh, it's 20.
Also 20, right? If this side is 40, what's the opposite side? Well, we don't really
40.
need that because
No.
listen what we have to do. I'm going to change the color to blue and I'm going to make it thick. I'm going to make it thicker, right? We want the outside. We want the perimeter. We want the outside. So we don't have to worry about this 20 inside. So we got 80 plus 40 plus 60
60.
plus 60 plus 20 plus 100. Now I'm writing all weird, but what I'm going to do is this is 100. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to use mental math right here. I don't even need a calculator. I got 100. 80 plus 20 is 100. 60 plus 40 is 100.
360.
And then 60.
360.
So the perimeter of this shape will be 360 feet. Okay. So again, you got to get in the habit. A lot of people try to remember the concepts. It's not about remembering. It's about understanding the question, asking what they want, identify your givens, and then going from there. Okay. So that was an example of a composite shape, finding the area in the perimeter. Okay, remember, perimeter is distance around. So remember, we didn't worry about this 20 that was right here because that's not around the shape. You understand that? All right, what other examples do we have? So let me look at, so I've been looking at looking at some assignments that people have been doing online. So let me find one. A person's not here, but he did right there. That person's not here, but I do want to make sure we go over the type of problem. See, let me minimize it. And if you remember, if you have any questions or specific things you want to go over right now, is right now, since I didn't get that message out to late, and it didn't go out on Facebook or Instagram, it may be only a few people here. So the regular people that come, again, if you have a question, if you have something you want to know, this is not a whole lot of people here. So ask your question. All right. So
Pythagorean theorem. I'm very
Pythagorean.
confused about.
Oh, Pythagorean theorem. Let me find something right now. Hold on. Again, I'm gonna go to I'm gonna go to Schoology again. Again, this is the free website that I use. Which I gotta switch by October 1st. So I gotta start switching over all the things. So Pythagorean theorem. So one thing, if you're confused about Pythagorean theorem, you can use Schoology and go under math lessons and go into triangles. Now, there we go right there. angles, triangles, Pythagorean theorem. Okay, here's a PDF on just quick stuff you need to know about angles and triangles, but let's go to Pythagorean theorem pretest. So this is I made pretest for each section so you can see, do you understand the concept and do I need to study this concept? So if you have under a 70, I'd rather say 80, but if you got under an 80, I will go over it. But if you have 70, 75, 80, go to the next section. That way you don't have to waste your time studying something you primarily get. So let's look at this right here. Let's look. We did that one. We did that one last week. Let's try this one right here. What is Pythagorean theorem? Tell me, do you know? What is Pythagorean theorem?
No, that's how I say I'm very confused because like I was on your YouTube channel and I was about to click on it, but I didn't get time to do it, and then now I'm in the class, so I really wanted to ask about Pythagorean theorem.
Okay, so first thing you have to know is, when do we use the Pythagorean theorem? We use the Pythagorean theorem to find a missing side of a right triangle. Do you know what a right triangle is?
Yes.
Okay, a right triangle is a triangle that has an angle of 90 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about a right triangle, your two legs are called your A and B, and your hypotenuse is your C. This is important. This is always your hypotenuse, the side opposite your 90-degree angles. Your A and B are interchangeable. So let's look at this question. Okay, so first of all, that's when you use the Pythagorean theorem to find the missing side of a right triangle. That means if you got a missing side, that means you know the other two. Okay. So let's draw this diagram. To get from point A to point B, you must avoid walking through a pond. To avoid the pond, you walk 34 meters south. What direction is south?
On down.
Going down. So we know here is 34. And 41 meters east. Which way is east?
To the right.
To the right. So we know that's 41. So now we have, look at that. Hold on, Mr. Tins. That don't like a triangle to me. Remember, to get from point A to point B. So what we're going to do is we're going to call this point A and we're going to call this point B. So if you notice, to get from here to here, when we draw that imaginary leg, we now have a right triangle where the hypotenuse is not known. So, okay, so now we know to use Pythagorean theorem. So we go to our formula sheet and we see that the formula sheet says that the Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Well, I already labeled A, B, and C for you, that the A and B are the legs, the C is the hypotenuse. So what is A going to be?
A is going to be 1,156.
No, what's A? Not what's A squared, what A is.
Oh, 34.
34. So we got 34 squared. B is going to be what?
41. 41 squared.
41 squared equals C squared. Now tell me what 34 squared is.
Oh, 34 squared is 1,156.
1,156. Now, did you use a calculator or did you do it by hand?
I use my calculator for that one.
Perfect. What is 41 squared?
41 squared is 1,681.
1,681 equals C squared. What is 1,156 plus 1,681?
1,156 plus 1,681 equals 2,837.
2,837 equals C squared. See, now, this is, remember, the purpose of algebra is to isolate the variable, to solve for C. Well, right now we have C squared. How do we get rid of that squared? You take the square root. So we're going to take the square root, and whatever we do to one side,
do to the next.
To the other. So now, the square root of C squared is just C. Why? Because the square root cancels the squared out. Now, what's the square root of 2,837?
The square root of...
53. Go ahead.
I'm going to tell you right now, 2,837 is 53. Well, yeah,
Yep,
I got 53.26. That's I did it.
53.26. Now it says round to the nearest meter. So
Okay.
C is going to be what?
52.
Not fit. Why you say 52?
Wait, because it's supposed to be 53 because they ain't round
53.
up.
53.
But they ain't
Right,
Yeah,
round.
because I
They
exactly.
ain't
thought
round
it
up.
was
Yeah.
Now,
I
what?
was looking at the answers right here, the options like 22, 34, 45. Wait. I'm sorry.
that
So
makes
the
sense.
answer is not even there?
No.
No.
Hmm. Interesting. I made a mistake. See how people make a mistake? Now,
And look,
what I,
and we just corrected it. That's good.
yep. But watch
That
this.
is good.
That's how you do it by hand. What I would tell you to do is if you have the ebook, watch this. So what I
I
told
do.
you how to do it is to
Mm-hmm.
do, we know A, B, and C. Since we don't know the hypotenuse, we're going to add those together. Watch this. Watch how quickly we can do it. Watch this. We'll put it, oops. I don't know why it's not moving down here. Okay, there we
It's
go.
quick.
Watch this. Square root of 34 squared plus 41 squared. Get out of my
Mm-hmm.
get out of my square root, hit my double arrows or enter, it tells me 53.2. So my answer is to the nearest foot is 53. Look how now.
Yeah.
Now, algebraically, look how long it took me. Using the calculator, it took me 15 seconds. So what
Mhm.
I want you to remember is this. Using the Pythagorean theorem, okay, there's 3 instances. Okay, so I'm going to put them all here.
We'll do the missing side.
The missing side. So if I know A and B, if I know A and C, or I know B and C, that's the only 3 options you can have if you're missing a side. Am I correct? If you're
Yeah.
using the calculator, all you're going to do is do A squared plus B squared. If you're missing C, the square root of A squared plus B squared. If you're missing B, you're going to do the square root of C squared minus A squared. If you're missing A, you're going to do the square root of C squared minus B squared. What you should notice is, remember I told you math is about patterns. If you have the 2 legs, you're adding them. If you have the hypotenuse, you're subtracting from the square of the hypotenuse. Look at that. Now, no matter what Pythagorean theorem problem you get, you should be able to do in less than 30 seconds. But the key is from that word problem, you got to identify A, B, or C. And this is why I have the pretest and I have specific examples for Pythagorean theorem and word problems so you can see it. Because once you're able to identify A, B, and C, you can use your calculator and this problem is done in 15 seconds. So if you see a Pythagorean theorem problem on your GED, you should be laughing all the way to the bank
Yes.
because you know you got it. Got me? So I'm going to have you do one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come out of here. I'm going to go to the practice section for Pythagorean theorem. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a problem. I'm going to allow you to take time to do a problem for Pythagorean theorem. And let's see what you get. And let's see how fast you can get it done. Okay, here's one. There's Pythagorean. Again, this is all practice. This is all free. All you got to do is your cost is your time. That's it. Is your time. So I probably should have pushed preview so I can go to a question without showing the answers on the screen. So let me go to preview. Oh, no, I can do it this way. All right, here we go. Let's do this right here. There we go, right there. Let's do number 10. Firefighter. Now, I specifically selected a word problem. That's wordy. That paragraph is kind of long. Firefighters use a ladder that is 25 meters long to reach windows of buildings above the ground floor. In this case, firefighters need to reach a window that is on the upper story of a house. They lean the ladder against the house as shown in the diagram below. How high from the ground is the base of the window? So what I'm
Wow.
going to do is I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Now I give you 3 minutes to solve this. Let me grab my phone. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to solve this problem. And then we're going to go over it. Well, first I'm going to tell you if you're right or wrong, correct or not. Then I'm going to show you how to do it by hand. Then I'm going to show you how to use by using the calculator. And then thirdly, I'm going to show you how to do it with mental math. This is actually a 15-second, actually it's about a 5-second problem. I already know the answer. I can look at it and know it. But that's what I want to prepare you for. So you, no matter what you do, identify your A, B, and C. What formula we're going to use, and whether you're going to use the calculator or not, or whether you're going to solve it algebraically. But I want to show you all of these things so you're prepared. So I'm setting my timer now for 3 minutes.
I'm done.
You're done? Oh, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So Sharon, what did you get?
I got 20.
You got 20. So Sharon got 20. And how about you, Daryl?
Same thing.
You got 20. How did you do it, Sharon?
I did it in my calculator. I did it with, from the eBook. You put the square root, 25 square minus 15 square, come out of it, you get 20.
I love it. And how did you do it, Daryl?
Exact same way. You did the square root, 25 square, take away 15 square, because 15 is B.
And what you had to realize, exactly, because this is the right angle. So we know this is our C. This is why you had to subtract. So this is my C. It doesn't matter what this is. You can call this A, you can call this B. Doesn't matter. But what does matter is C is always the hypotenuse. And now I told you, if they're given the hypotenuse, you subtract 25 squared minus 50 squared. I love it. So let's do it on the calculator. So first of all, if we was doing it by hand, we would do 15 squared plus B squared equal 25 squared. 225 plus B squared equals 625. Subtract 225 from both sides. You get B squared equal 400. Take the square root of both sides. You get B equal 20. So that's how you do it algebraically using the Pythagorean, the formula, Pythagorean theorem. That's one way. The other way is, again, you could put in your calculator, identify this is A, this is B, this is C. We got 25 squared minus 15 squared, which is 20. That's the easiest way. That's the way I go over in the eBook, so you won't waste time. But the third way is to, the most common right triangles you'll see in the GED are two types. One is called a 3, 4, 5. One is called a 5, 12, 13. So what I notice is this is A or B, this is C. So the multiple to get to C is 5. So I have to multiply 5 by 5 to get 25. So that means if I got to multiply the other legs by 5, 15 and 20. So now I know right away that my other leg is 15. That matches up. So my missing leg, 20, done.
Wow.
Okay. Wait, that one kind of threw me for a loop. Okay, you said 3, 4, 5.
So there are two ratios of Pythagorean theorems that are used most often on standardized exams. I'm talking about GED. I'm talking about college entrance. I'm talking about SATs. I'm talking about T's. A lot of the times on standardized exams, they use two special triangles. One is called your 3, 4, 5. The other is your 5, 12, 13. What that is saying is if your legs are 8 and B, your hypotenuse is C. So if I draw a right triangle and my one leg is 5, my second leg is 12, that's going to make my hypotenuse 13. And a 3, 4, 5 triangle, if my leg is 3, my other leg is 4, my hypotenuse is 5. Okay. This also works for any multiple of those. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 9, 12, 15, 12, 16, 20. 5 is 15, 20, 25. So remember, I multiply this by 2. I multiply these by 3. I multiply these by 4. I multiply these by 5. So I noticed here that this 25, a multiple of 5 is 25. So I would have to multiply that by 5. So what I do is I multiply the other legs by 5. So this is where I got the 15 and the 20. So when I look at what's given, I see one of the legs is 15. So now I know the missing leg is
20.
So for example,
Okay.
let me give you another example. Say if I had this right here.
I got it as soon as you said I multiply the 5 to the 3. You got the 15. Then you multiply the other 5 to the 4. As soon as you said that part right there, everything just came in together like Kool-Aid.
Good. I'm glad. So 5, 12, 13. I see A, B, and C. 5, 12, 13. I see my leg is 10. So that's a multiple of 2. So right away, I'm going to do 10. 24 is my second leg. I see that my second leg is 24. I'm good. My hypotenuse 26. No work. These are the most common Pythagorean theorem. There's some others, but these are the most common used on standardized exams. So Pythagorean theorem. Now you can save down. So what you're going to do when you get home is you're going to jump on Schoology, do 10 of these problems, because now you know how to do them. So now after tonight, you're going to be like, wow, I can't wait to get to my GED exam. They give me Pythagorean theorem. Because what I know is this, Pythagorean theorem is on every single GED exam.
Okay. I'm actually home right now. I'm just waiting till after this class. I'm going to do it.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm signed up to school. I'm signed up to Schoology.
That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And again, this is why I give you Schoology, is so you can practice, so you see these word problems, so you get acclimated. Look, ladder problems of traveling diagonally, diagonal. So you're looking for keywords. What is the diagonal? If you see diagonal, you know that has something to do with a right triangle. It's keywords. All these are very similar. But when you get to your exam, you're going to notice those problems. You're going to know right away. That's a Pythagorean theorem problem. Like, for example, let's go to the study guide real quick. Let me go to the study guide. Here we go. And let me see if I can find one real quick. There we go, right there. Look at that. Look at that. So I'm gonna give you 2 minutes to solve this problem. So let me put the answers on the side so I can make the diagram much bigger. So the answers are 19, 27, 36, and 38. So the reason why I'm doing that is so you can see nice and clear the problem in the question. There we go, right there. So the foundation of a building is in the shape of a rectangle with a length of 20 meters and a width of 18 meters. To the nearest meter was the distance from the top left corner of the foundation to the bottom right corner. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my timer for 2 minutes. And then when you, if you finish before the 2 minutes, you can send me the answer in the chat. If you both finish before 2 minutes, you can both tell me the answer, and then we'll see what we got. So I'm going to start the timer now. Oh my goodness, I never put the recording back on, did I? Oh, yes, I did. Oof.
Let me make sure that's this. Yeah. Okay.
I wrote my answer in the chat.
Wait a minute. Wait. I got to write mine down.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if that's right or not, but we will check.
Well, let me see if this one is. I don't know. Let me see. I hope I'm reading it right. Okay.
Now, Daryl, you did that in 49 seconds. You should be feeling good from not knowing Pythagorean theorem to finish a problem in 47 seconds.
That is true. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just hope I got it right. That's the thing. Just because I did it fast, not always saying you did it right.
That's true. That's true.
I think I did this wrong.
Okay, so let's go over. So Sharon, that is. So
Huh?
first of all, I'm gonna give you a little clue. So first of all, they said from top right, top left
Yeah.
corner, right to the
Oh, we
foundation.
got
So
it's
so so let's
diagonal,
let's let's
right?
do that first. Let's draw that line,
Okay. Yeah, I did
right?
it too. I
Boom.
think you did
The
it.
second thing you got to realize is that opposite sides are equal because they told you it's a rectangle. So this side is 18. This side is also 18. So now
18.
you should see the right triangle with two legs of 18 and 20. And because you need to now figure out the diagonal, which is now the hypotenuse, you're going to type in your calculator 18 squared plus 20 squared.
I did. I did it over. I did it over. It's 26.90.
Okay,
26.2.
okay,
Yeah, I did it over.
26.90. Now, also what I
Yeah.
could tell you, if this was A, B, C, D, I'm going to give you a little hint. The hypotenuse is always the longest side. So if
Yeah, that's
18 and
what
20 are the two legs, you know your C has to be bigger than 20. So we know it's not A.
mm-mm.
Your hypotenuse is always your
It's the longest
longest
side.
side. So let's
Yep.
throw this in the calculator real quick. Let me clear the
All right.
screen. Again, because we want to listen, like you said there, we want to be able to do it quickly, but we also want to make sure we're correct. But guess what? If you know the formula, the calculator will do the work for you. Bam, bam. This is the purpose of using the calculator, because if you put everything in correctly, it's nothing for you to do. Look
Yeah,
at that.
that's what I got. Yep, that's what I got. Yep.
Again,
Well,
now,
how did I get this?
round off to the nearest whole number is
Yes,
27.
I rounded off. That's why I got
27.
27.
And now your Pythagorean theorem now becomes easy problems on your exam. Again, so remember the advice that I give you. First of all, a lot of adult educators say don't focus on the first five. To me, I think you should focus on the first five, because when you start well, you feel better about yourself. If you got the first five wrong, now you doubt yourself. If you got the first five right, now you're going in. Hold on, but Mr. Tinsley also said area and circumference of a circle. I'm going to see it. Pythagorean theorem. I'm going to see it. Slope of a line. I'm going to see it. So a certain question, especially if you go through the ebook, that what you'll notice is as you're going to do these practice problems and you go take your GED, you won't feel as anxious because you done prepared yourself. And now what happens if you spend 5 minutes on this problem? Now you're nervous. Am I running out of time? But if you finish this in 47 seconds or less, now you're like, whoa, like I really did that question in 30 seconds or less, or 45 seconds or less, or a minute or less. Wow. So now I saved the average amount of time for each problem, which is 3 minutes. I saved 2 minutes. So now when I finish the exam, because what did Mr. Tinsley tell me? Make sure I finish the exam first, then come back to the difficult problems. Why? Because now those questions that you did in less than a minute, you have 2 extra minutes left over for each of those. Now you have time that you can work on those difficult problems. That's the key to passing this exam. All right, what's next? So we talked about Pythagorean theorem. We talked about area and perimeter of composite shapes. What's next? Anything you've been working on, had issues with, you want to go over. Anything. It doesn't matter what the concept is. I can show you how to do it quick, fast, and accurate.
Let's do slope word problem.
Slope word problems?
Yeah.
No problem at all. What type? I give you some. I give you some.
Any kind.
Any kind. I got you.
Yeah.
So again, practice tests and additional practice problems. Let's go. I don't know why my internet is going. So we're gonna go under linear equations. And I have slope from an equation, parallel and perpendicular lines, linear equation word problems. Look at that. Also comparing different sources is also word problems. But let's go. I got 3 different linear equations word problems. Some of the questions are the same as I was redoing some of the quizzes. But again, everything that you need is right here. We're going to preview. Where's my preview? Where's my preview? Okay, questions. Where's my preview? There we go. I don't know why I couldn't see it. Maybe I thought it was on the right side. Okay, start new attempt. And it doesn't matter. I'm just going to go right into, again, it's about anywhere from 5 to 10. Okay, so let's look at this. A machine salesperson earns a base salary of $40,000 plus a commission of $300 for every machine he sells. What would be the salesperson income if he sold 150 machines? Okay, where would I even start? I don't even know how to start this problem. How would I even start this problem?
Would you start with what you got, what they gave you?
Exactly. Identify your givens. If you don't hear me in your head when you're doing a word problem, identify your givens, then you're not listening. I can't get through to you then. Identify what you know. What do we know?
You know he earns a base salary of $40,000 plus a commission plus a commission of $300 for every machine he sells.
Okay, and what question do they want to know?
What would be the salesperson's income if he sold 150 machines?
So, what do we know about linear equations? What is the common form of linear equations that I tell you should have stamped on your brain? What is the form of a linear equation I said you should have stamped on your brain?
Oh my gosh.
Okay, give me the forms you know. What's the different forms of a linear equation?
Oh gosh. I'm stuck. I truly am. I know. Let me see.
So that's the first thing we got to make sure we know. Okay.
Yes.
There are
Yes.
there
And
are
I
there
know.
are there are two forms of linear equations that you should know. The first is called your slope intercept form.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. Just slope. Okay.
And what is that? Do you know?
My slope intercept on this problem.
No. I want to know the formula for the
Oh,
slope
M O
intercept form.
y equals mx plus b.
Okay. The second form you should know is a standard form.
There's a there's there's ax plus by equals c.
Okay. These are the two forms of a linear equation you should know.
Yes.
Now, if they give you the option, we're going to with slope intercept. So we're going to erase this for right now. So now, if you look at y equal mx plus b, it doesn't matter which your x is, right? So you got two terms. So let me say this. You got two terms for this equation, right? You have two terms. You have this one right here, and you have this right here. Okay. Which one is going to be variable? Which one is going to change?
The 300, wouldn't
it? The 300. That's going to change. Why? Because if I sell one machine, I made 300. If I sell two machines, I'm going to make 600. If I sell three machines, I'm going 900. So that's variable. So listen to what I said. What's going to change? Well, what does variable mean? It means to change. So you know the 300 is your M.
Yeah. Okay.
So y equal 300x plus b. Your b is not going to change. No matter how many machines you sell, if you sell 0, how much is your base salary?
40,000.
If you sell 10 machines, how much is your base salary?
40,000.
If you sell 100 machines, your base salary is what?
$40,000.
40,000. This is your constant. That is not going to change. So when you see a word problem, you identify what term is going to change, what term is going to stay the same, and what's going to stay the same is your constant, and what's going to change is your variable, which is going to be your slope, which is your M. So now we have an equation, y equals 300x plus 40,000. Well, what is x? X is the number of machines sold. So when they ask you how much will you make if you sell 150, we're going to take that 150 and And we're going to plug that into as X. Because 300 for every machine. How many machines did you upsell? 150. So 300 times 150 is what?
Wait a minute. It is 45,000.
45,000 plus 40,000.
Yeah.
What's 45,000 plus 45,000 plus 40,000?
95,000.
Not 95.
85,000. I'm getting
85. Look at that. You now have your answer. But what's important, what's so important is identifying what's changing and what is not. When you're using slope intercept form. So important. So let me save this. Let me put this out the way, save it. Let me clear it. Let's try another one.
That was a good one.
Okay. Let's look at this one. Another word problem. But again, identify your givens. We already know it's a linear equation. So we already know we're starting with y equal mx plus b. So what I'm going to ask you now is what's going to change and what's going to stay constant. So tell me, to get your equation, what's not going to change, that's going to be your b. Whatever's going to change is going to be your m. So tell me from this word problem, what's your m and what's your b?
My m would be 0.5.
Your m is 0.5. What's your b?
It's 34.
The 34. So we're going to fill that in. We're going to got y equal. Now, this is what's important. It says receding rate of 0.5. Receding means negative. So y equal 0.5x plus 34. 0.5x plus 34. That's our linear equation. To solve this, they want to know how many days will it take for the level to be 26 feet. Well, what they're telling you is we know what y is, right? So that y, hold on, why do they have L? It doesn't matter. So write an equation of the water level L after D days. So even though we started with this, they tell us to use specific variables. So L equal dx plus b. So instead of using y, you understand? You see what we just did? Oops, I'm sorry. You got me? So now, but let's use that. Let's use that equation we started because it doesn't matter. It's still y equal mx plus b. So y equal minus 0.5x plus 34. But they want to know how many days will it take. So they want to solve for d. So let's change it a little bit so we know. So let me change it to black. Let me use black. And I'm going to say, and we just use that same formula. So why my pen is not showing up? There we go. L equal MD plus B, right? So how many days would a water level be 26 feet? So they want to solve for D. So that means this 26 is L. That's the water level. So the water level, they're telling you, the water level, 26 feet. The water level is described by the variable L. So 26 equal negative 0.5D plus 34. So we're going to now, so this is our equation. 26 equal negative 0.5D plus 34. Why is it negative 0.5 again? Because this says 0.5. Why is it negative 0.5? Because it's receding, it's going down. So how do we solve for D? What do we need to get rid of first?
You want to have to minus 34 on both sides?
We got a minus 34 on both sides. Now I'm running out of room, so I'm going to move it over. So what's minus 34 plus 26?
Minus 26.
If you can't do it in your head, use your calculator. What is 26 minus 34?
Minus 34 will give you a negative 8.
Negative 8 equal negative 0.5D. The 34 is canceled. In order to get D by itself, what do I need to divide by?
Now divide by 5, -5, point -5.
Negative, what? Say it again.
You gotta divide by point -5.
Yes, negative 0.5, not
Negative
right.
point. Okay.
So whatever we do on one side,
Yeah, do to the other.
we do on the other. So what is -8 divided by negative 0.5?
Negative 8 divided by -0.5 will give you 16.
Two negative 0.5s cancel. We left with D. D equals 16. So again, the important thing is we knew they wanted a linear equation. So we knew to start with y equal mx plus b. The second thing, we identify what's changing and what's not changing. So we realize that the 34 is where it's starting. That's not going to change. That's the beginning. The 0.5 every day is changing by, since it's receding and going down, every day you're subtracting 0.5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my slope is negative 0.5. Okay, well, they didn't tell us to use the variables y and x. So they want us to use the variables L and D. So I exchanged y for L and exchanged x for D.
Mm-hmm.
I identified my slope as negative 0.5, identified as my constant as 34, and I solved for D. Okay. Good. Good. So that's how you would solve these types of linear equations. Again, so once you get in the habit of solving for, identifying your slope, identifying your y-intercept, you'll get comfortable in looking at problems and identifying when to use y equal mx plus b. Okay, and a lot of these questions are very similar. You got to be wary of which one you use. So again, let's look at one last one for linear equations.
Okay.
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 A construction company charges 15 per hour for debris removal, plus a one-time fee for the use of the trash dumpster. The total fee for 9 hours of service is $195. What is the fee for the use of the trash dumpster for 5 hours? Wow. Oh my goodness, Mr. Tinsley. Oh my goodness. Can somebody tell me what we have? How will we start this problem? Again, this is why I put the variety of word problems on here. So you're just not remembering how to do the questions. You're actually involving critical thinking,
Yes.
identifying your givens. So what do we know?
Okay. We know the charges is $15 per hour.
15 per hour, right? Is that your M or your B?
That's
Well,
my M.
so first of all, understand our equation. We got Y, we got X, we got M, and we got B. So we got to make sure we identify. So that 15 per hour, is that your M or B?
That's my M.
That's my M. Why? Because per hour, it's going to be changing. It's variable. Plus a one-time fee for the use of the trash dumpster. So we don't know what B is. A one-time fee is constant. We don't know what B is. But we do know the total for 9 hours is 195. So what is 9? So when we talk about y equal mx plus b, we're going to multiply 15 times the number of hours, which is your x. So this 9, is that your x or your y?
Wait, wouldn't that be my X?
That's your x. So that's your x. What is your 195?
That's my constant. That's the
No,
Y.
no,
No,
that's your
really?
y. That don't mean that's your constant. That's your y.
That's
See,
my
your
Y.
y can change, you know what I mean? Depending upon, see, remember, x is your independent variable. Y is your dependent variable. So depending on what x is, your y is calculated from that. So that can change also because that mx variable could change. That mx term could change. So this is your x, this is your y, this is your m. Well, what What don't we know? This is your unknown. That's what algebra is about. We need to solve for B. So we need to plug everything in. So 195 equal 15 times 9 plus B. So all we did was take this Y, plug it in there. All we did is take this M, plug it in here. All we did was take this X, plug it in here. So the only unknown we had is B. Remember the beauty of algebra. You can, for our intents and purposes right now, okay, you can only have one unknown. That's all. Otherwise, you can't solve algebraic equations. It's only one unknown. So you should know everything else. So what is 15 times 9?
135.
135 plus B. How can we get B by itself?
Wait a minute. Okay, we divide it? No. I can't see it. Let me tell you. Wait.
The equation says 195 equal 135 plus
okay.
B.
Okay, don't we have to minus 35? 135?
You got to subtract 135. Whatever we do to one side,
do to the other.
What is 195 minus 135?
It's 60.
60. So 60 is B. Hold on, Mr. Tinsley. I don't see 60 over here. This is the mistake that people make. You got to identify your givens, and then you have to identify what they want to know. We know the y-intercept is 60. We know the slope is 15. So our equation is y equal 15x plus 60. Now, if they want to know the cost, hold on. Let me erase some of this stuff because it's getting a little bit crowded here.
Okay.
What do they want to know? And this is important. People are rushing to solve these problems. Believe me, if we had a multiple choice here of 60, when people saw this 60 as B, they would have chose 60 as the answer. That's not what they're asking. The one-time fee is $60. So if they ask for the one-time fee, your answer will be $60. They're asking how much was the fee for the use for 5 hours.
Yeah.
So now that we have the equation, y equal 15x plus 60, they're giving you the time spent. So that's my x. Plug that in right there. Y equal 15 times 5 plus 60. What is 15 times 5?
15 times 5 is 75.
75. And what's 75 plus 60?
135.
135. That's our answer. And that's how you do problems like these. And this is why I have word problems where sometimes you got to solve for slope. Sometimes they ask you for the linear equation. Sometimes they ask you for the y-intercept. Sometimes they ask you for the slope. Again, this is why I put a multitude of practice problems, word problems on Schoology. So no matter what they give you, because I'm guaranteeing you, they're going to give you, you're going to have about 7 to 10 linear equations on your exam. So that's one area that if you want to make sure you're ready, again, so look, let me show you these again. I must quit this again. Let's go to my linear equations. So I have multiple assessments under linear equations. Again, 7 to 10 questions. Find the slope from 2 points, find the slope of a line, slope from equation, find the slope of y-intercept, the equation of a line, parallel and perpendicular line, word problems, comparing different sources. So if one of the most important areas you want to get ready for this GED exams and make sure you score 80 or above in all of these quizzes, because that's almost a quarter of your exam. A quarter of your exam. Most people, I can almost guarantee, if they take the GED practice test, when they look at their results, linear equations is almost unequivocally the concept most people miss. Almost every single exam. Not everybody, but most, the majority. So when I see when you take your practice test, if you take the GED ready, you look at that, the coordinate plane, the slope, parallel and perpendicular lines, equation of a line, you'll see 4 to 5, 6 problems that you got wrong. That's the areas you should focus on first. Believe me. Okay. So it's about 7 o'clock. That was a quick hour. So again, just like Daryl said, he gonna get right on and he gonna practice those Pythagorean theorem problems until he got them down. Once he gets the Pythagorean theorem, so that's what I would suggest to anybody that come to these sessions on Monday. If you see a specific type of problem that you're having issues with, you watch that video till you have a conceptual understanding, and then you go practice until you got it. And then on Tuesday or Wednesday, you go to the next problem on one of these videos that you don't understand. Go through it, make sure you understand it, go practice on Schoology. Okay, so what I think the problem is most people are trying to learn everything all at once. No, make sure you understand the concept, you have a conceptual understanding, then you practice with the word problems, then you move to the next concept. Okay?
Yes.
Everybody have a wonderful evening.
You too. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.